Thank you, Mayor Redd, for being here today, and Meishka. Mayor Redd's been the mayor of Camden since January of 2010. She's spent more than 20 years in the public sector serving the citizens of Camden. She's a past state senator for the 5th Legislative District, where she served on the Senate Budget and Appropriations Committee. She's been a tireless advocate for the residents of Camden, working to improve the city and the lives of its residents. Meishka has been the vice president, or is the vice president of the neighborhood initiatives at Cooper's Ferry Partnership since 2010. She's played a key role in broadening the CFP's mission to address planning and redevelopment efforts in Camden, and I'm very pleased to welcome both of you today and to hear the story of Camden. All right.
Good morning, everyone. First, let me thank Carrie for the introduction and to say what a great honor it is to be here as New Jersey DEP has convened this workshop for all of us to explore and to discuss best practices within the CSO environment. Certainly, Camden has undergone a lot of transformation in the last 5 years since I've been mayor, but I have to say it is because of great partnerships both in the public and the private sector. And I certainly, again, want to thank New Jersey DEP, Cindy Randazzo, who is here, and her partners, and certainly our governor, Governor Jim Florio. We always pay homage to him because we know that he has always been a strong environmental person, going back to the days of his congressional representation, but certainly as a governor, and now in his life working along with us to move Camden forward. So thank you, Governor, for your positions that you've taken on our environment. I know I have a couple of my colleagues here, and before I get into my presentation, I do want to acknowledge Mayor Diaz, who is our chairperson of the New Jersey Urban Mayors Association, and because we're in the city of Newark, we certainly want to recognize Mayor Baraka again for hosting us here at the Rutgers campus. As we get started this morning, I am joined by a phenomenal Camden resident who serves as the vice president of our Cooper's Ferry Partnership group, and they are a nonprofit development group that helps us to oversee much of the infrastructure work that we're going to share with you this morning. I won't get into the history of Camden because most of you are familiar, but the city of Camden, Walt Whitman's city invincible, has certainly undergone a transformation since its height as an economic and cultural center of South Jersey to one of the poorest cities in the country with challenges that are similar to all of our combined sewer communities in New Jersey. But Camden's transformation is not complete, and we know that the best is yet to come. 2014 was a transformative year for Camden. The Economic Opportunity Act of 2013 has certainly spurred announcements of new development, such as the Philadelphia 76ers building their practice facility and administrative offices on our waterfront, Subaru, its corporate headquarters, now moving to the city of Camden, and Holtec International with more announcements that are slated and on the web. And just this week in our newspapers across the nation, certainly here in New Jersey, there's been more positive reports on improvements of public safety in the city of Camden since we started using a county police force, operationalizing more than 400 officers on the ground in our neighborhoods and certainly in our business quarters. We've witnessed a 51% reduction in homicides, 22% drop in violent crime, and 44% reduction in shootings. And again, we're continuing to see the trends go down. Camden's revitalized downtown waterfront continues to attract more than 3 million visitors a year. And collectively, our educational and healthcare anchor institutions are investing in Camden downtown. And this means a lot because, once again, the city of Camden, with its institutions, nonprofit partners, and committed citizens, has an opportunity to transform and reemerge as an economic sector. And we certainly heard the previous speaker, Chris, and I'm a big fan of Chris, listening just to some of the things that they're doing in Syracuse. He spoke to the importance of dealing with your infrastructure and also greening as part of economic development. The city of Camden has a degraded, century-old combined sewer system with 180 miles of pipe, much of it that is still brick, traveling throughout the city of Camden. And during our rain events, sewage is discharged out of 23 outfalls into the Delaware River back channel, the Cooper River, and Newton Creek. In many areas like the Kramer Hill neighborhood that is pictured, it's not only the severe storms that cause flooding, but as little as 1 inch of rain, which occurred on the day that these photos were taken, coinciding with a high tide, can result in several feet of sewage, filled water in the parks and our roadways, and certainly in the homes of our residents. From neighborhoods to the downtown waterfront, flooding has had a major impact on existing residents, as well as the future development of our potential and the potential of our city. In 2010, I was approached by Andy Cricken and Meishka Mitchell, along with DEP, to launch our Camden Smart Initiative. Our stormwater management issues are so complex that it takes a committed group of stakeholders, and some of which you've heard from here today, across many sectors in order to address our issues in the city. And as a result, the SMART initiative, as I said, was launched in 2011 after initial discussions in 2010. And SMART stands for Stormwater Management and Resource Training. Our SMART team includes the city, county of Camden, and state government, nonprofit organizations, and educational institutions that the city has been working with individually for many years. I'd like to personally thank again the Department of Environmental Protection for all of the work that you've provided, and I know we've also worked on air quality initiatives in the city of Camden as well. To my partners that are here, my colleagues, what I would suggest is reaching out to the New Jersey DEP and others as we collectively strive to reinvent and revitalize our urban centers.
Thank you, Mary Ray. The Camden Smart Initiative, there are a couple of pillars. We've been talking about stormwater management issues here, but economic development being chief among those, especially for Mayor Red and her administration, with the realization that, if we want to move Camden forward, we need to tackle the underlying issues, the under the street issues, the under the ground issues, what you can't see, really in order to, make development happen. But water quality, which we've also talked about today, and the quality of life of Camden residents. It's beyond the city, though. So our mission also includes the Delaware River watershed. And part of what we've been doing is trying to take our show on the road, as we're doing here, to let people know that, the waterways don't just affect one place. We are all connected by these waterways, and so it impacts all of us, not just the combined sewer communities also, but our suburban towns, the rural areas that surround us, that we're all in this sort of watershed together. Camden City residents are at the forefront of what we do for the SMART initiative, and Mayor Red will talk about some of our projects and how we get the word out. But it really started with the residents and doing neighborhood planning work and talking to them. The reoccurring theme comes from them is that, flooding in their neighborhoods is it's also a quality of life issue, but a public health hazard, one that impacts them, again, on large storm events like a Hurricane Sandy, but also on a 1-inch rainfall. And so Camden residents should not have to watch the weather every day to wonder if it's going to rain and whether or not that will impact their children walking to school, whether or not they have to find an alternative route and get ready to pump out their basements each day. We're very pleased to have Andy Cricken, who's here and spoke to us today with a very humorous presentation, I add today. As a partner in what we're doing as a major component for the SMART team, but also working with a partnership with the City of Camden to help to oversee what the city is doing with their long-term control plan. And some of the pillars of those things that Camden Smart has already been working toward are infiltration and inflow removal. really making sure that the leaky pipes and the aged infrastructure, that we're making sure we're addressing those from the forefront. You know, if you mix 1 gallon of clean water with just sewage, you just get 2 gallons of sewage. So, you know, making sure that we all understand that and that we address those issues on the onset. But also optimization of combined sewer system operations. And Andy Cricket talked a lot about that as well as others. That, you know, your combined sewer system only is going to work as good as you maintain it and operate it. So even though there are aged infrastructure pipes, there's limitations for that, making the best of what we have through system operations, making sure that we're, you know, cleaning our inlets with street sweeping and, you know, installing control devices so that we are making sure we're making the most of what we have. And, you know, all of that goes to more than just stormwater management, but lots of other issues, and Mayor Red will talk a little bit more about that.
Thank you, Meishka. So as Meishka mentioned, there are a lot of projects that have been launched in the city of Camden to improve the quality of life for our residents. I have to also add a note that our residents are very much inclined to preserve the environment. I know Camden in the past has gotten a lot of notorious types of headlines, but we are turning the corner in so many ways. And not only in recycling, but our residents are very actively engaged in reclaiming their neighborhoods. And I want to thank Andy Cricket, who has also been at the forefront of a lot of what we're doing in the city of Camden. And he will not quite make the comedian circuit, but we're grateful that he is with us and he has such wonderful expertise to share with all of us in the room and in the city. But again, the Camden Smart has had an impact well beyond its primary objective of stormwater management in Camden. Again, from the work of the following slides, our projects have helped to beautify our neighborhoods. This particular project for our governor is in the Parkside neighborhood along Park Boulevard. We've also have seen work that has spoken volumes literally in terms of the stormwater captured as a result of installing 27 green infrastructure projects. Today the number is 31, so we're again increasing the number of rain gardens that we have throughout the city of Camden, along with the infrastructure projects, to distributing over 120 rain barrels to Camden residents and planting 992 trees under the Camden Smart Initiative. But that number is even higher. Back in 2001, we started working along with the New Jersey Tree Foundation, and we have planted well over 4,000 trees throughout the city of Camden. And together, these projects infiltrate and capture nearly 4 million gallons of stormwater that would otherwise go into the overburdened combined sewer system. One of our early projects in 2011, and again, very grateful to the partners that you see displayed here on the slide, was the reopening of Farnam Park. This project helped us to manage our stormwater issues in the city of Camden. And this particular park that was restored is adjacent to Cooper River, which runs throughout Camden and Pennsauken, where the runoff had nearly washed away its banks. Today, this park is open for the enjoyment of our Camden residents with not only a new park and playground, but also water features and trails and picnic areas that our residents are enjoying today. In the Waterfront South neighborhood, which is where I grew up, across from CCME Way, we had a green infrastructure project, again, thanks to Andy Cricken and working with Monsignor Michael Doyle and the residents. This particular project helped to transform an eyesore into a series of rain gardens. What formerly existed there as a brownfield was an old gas station with a number of underground storage tanks. Again, this area was very contaminated, but with the help from New Jersey DEP, CCMUA, and the residents, it is transformed into a green gateway that goes into the waterfront neighborhood. We continue to work along with a work group to reach out to our residents, to reach out to our children and youth, to make them environmental stewards. And at the heart of everything that we do is community education through educational pamphlets and workshops. Camden Earth Week continues to be celebrated in the city of Camden, and it is celebrated the week of April the 21st through the 27th. Meishka is very good on making green drinks, absent the vodka, but it is all very healthy. And again, we engage our young people in reclaiming the neighborhood by planting rain gardens, also planting community gardens along with trees, and we've also launched a poster contest. With the poster contest, you see our logo that we continue to use for Camden Earth Week. Another program that came directly at the request of our Camden residents was the Rainwater Harvesting Initiative, which provides training to residents to build their own rain barrels. Our residents are very interested in reclaiming their neighborhoods, certainly improving their property, and as you can see, follow-up calls to our participants indicate that approximately 75% of our people have actually installed rain barrels on their own and where they're living presently. And so we're very impressed. So this continues to catch through all of our neighborhoods.
Besides the on-the-ground work and the community outreach, research, policy, and planning also is a cornerstone for what the Camden Smart Initiatives is doing. It really speaks to the leadership of Mayor Red and what's been happening over several years in Camden of really growing a sustainability movement in the city. We'll actually have next week for first reading a sustainability ordinance to be passed by Camden City Council. That will just add to the list of other things like a complete streets policy, a water conservation ordinance that has already been passed within the city. So we continue to try to utilize best practices where we can to make sure that this is ingrained into all of what Camden City does. We're very happy that over the last year and working into this year, that utilizing funding through the Environmental Infrastructure Trust, which has also been leveraged by funding through grant sources such as US EPA and New Jersey DEP's Green Acres program, that we will be implementing almost $30 million worth of both green and gray infrastructure projects in the city of Camden, all with the goal of helping to improve our stormwater management within the city. Those projects range from waterfront parks with natural shorelines, living shorelines, as well as water storage tanks, rehabilitation, pump station upgrades to make sure that they're operated optimally, new sewer lines, and green infrastructure projects throughout the entire city. One project that we're very happy that just completed is one phase of a larger project is the Baldwin Run Daylighting Project. And the pictures that you saw of the neighborhood flooding in the Craven Home neighborhood, this is that area that it was flooding. It actually was a former tributary to the back channel of the Delaware River called Baldwin's Run that was previously filled in. As a result of funding through the Environmental Infrastructure Trust, we've been able to recreate a portion of this stream bank out to the back channel of the Delaware to help to alleviate some of the stormwater pressures on our system. And that's just one example of some of the innovative projects that we're going. So we're certainly moving from the smaller scale rain gardens, which we're still doing, to the larger scale gray and green infrastructure projects. Across the city, this year, and currently under construction, is about the replacement of about 4,000 linear feet of sewer line. And some of that is replacement, some reconstruction, all targeted investment based on areas where we planned, where the residents have said it floods in their neighborhoods, where these are the most impactful areas that have been found through our community outreach, as well as the notifications from the City of Camden Engineering Department, as well as the CCNUA. And we've also started to take on the larger scale green infrastructure projects throughout the city as well. So the EIT funding is funding about 17 infrastructure projects throughout the city. Some of those with new partnerships. So the schools in the city of Camden are certainly a new partner for demonstration projects. And so we've been able to do some large scale projects that include pervious pavement and stormwater planners, or pavements with infiltration trenches that are under construction in partnership with the Camden City School Board. And as part of ingraining this into all of what Camden City is doing, making sure that sustainability is included within the neighborhood planning work that is underway in all of the neighborhoods as they begin to talk to their residents and come up with visions for the future to make sure that, resiliency, climate change, stormwater management are included in the conversation with the residents as we continue to plan for moving Camden forward. And we're very happy to be able to, as a result of some of this work, that the City of Camden is one of 20 municipalities that's silver level certified by Sustainable Jersey, and that we're continuing to move those efforts forward with larger initiatives. So Camden Smart has certainly grown, and now it's just one component of a larger initiative that includes a tremendous partnership, probably I would say unprecedented partnership with the New Jersey DEP and US EPA for the Camden Collaborative Initiative, where we are working on the ground in the city with partnerships on recycling, environmental education, stormwater management, and air quality, as well as brownfields and land use, really taking sustainability and growing our stormwater management issues into kind of a larger conversation about how to make the environment better for Camden residents.
Thank you, Meishka. So that concludes our PowerPoint presentation on some of the initiatives that we're doing in Camden, certainly in conjunction with New Jersey DEP. I also want to shout out Dave Zimmer from New Jersey EIT, because I know we'll be back for more money real soon. And also Andy Cricken. So as a mayor, I'm a big proponent of shared service agreements, strong public-private partnerships that help us to address a myriad of issues here in the city of Camden. And Andy Cricken also works very closely with our Department of Public Works because of his level of expertise and his insight, and also his partnerships. We see working with the county as a benefit and not as a negative. And so we've improved our partnerships since I've become mayor in 2010. So again, thank you. I think we stuck to our timeline. We've done very well, and there may be time for questions. Governor.
Just a quick statement. I mentioned to the group before that I'm from Camden, and I just want to commend you. This is a wonderful presentation. The things that you've done in Camden, very, very significant. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. And I always claim you as my Camden governor, but I know I have to share you with the rest of the state, so I didn't intro you that way. But yes, Governor is our very own person from the city of Camden. He has a very unique story, and we're so grateful that he's here with us. I remember when we announced the Camden comeback many years ago, and Governor is here and is helping us to usher Camden's comeback into fruition. So thank you for all of your service and continued involvement. Yes, sir.
One second. So, Dan Kennedy, again, this is Commissioner from Water. I just wanted to thank you, Mayor, for being kind of the department's guinea pig, frankly. You stepped up to help the department redefine the way it engaged with urban communities. The typical way the department had engaged in the past with urban communities, I think, a personal opinion, was more write a permit, line enforce, determine. This level of engagement, the team we built in the department, though focused on Camden right now, we're looking to expand to other pilots and transfer that experience to other communities. And we think through the CSO permit, we can take the long-term control thing, we can take the lessons we learned in the department about how we should operate as civil servants, to then apply that to the long-term control plan and how we engage with our communities all throughout the state. So I want to connect those dots, and also thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you once again.
Thank you both so much. That was wonderful. Congratulations to you both.